Welcome to Chaotically Nerdy, a podcast for nerds by nerds. Chaotically Nerdy is a podcast made by adults for adults and children with bad parents, which is me. Adult language and situations may arise. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chaotically Nerdy. On this week's episode is me, Tyler.
And me, Jarrett.
Me, Ethan.
Me, Ashley.
And me, Jamie.
Got
Again?
5 again.
Wow. It's like we're doing this all in one go.
Oh, shit. Don't tell our secrets. By this point, they should know that we
know
record.
that, yeah.
We badge record.
Yeah. It just works out better for us.
Well, we have real lives, so...
Yeah.
Well,
That's the problem.
One of us does. You're the one that, like, we could probably find time to record
I mean,
every week, almost.
probably.
I probably could.
You don't count. You're not here
Oh,
regularly.
yeah, that's fair.
You're the guest.
You're a guest.
I even get guest count, yeah. Guests don't count.
Yeah.
We're not real people. I don't have a life.
Speaking of that, I need to change yours to host so I can just start tagging host and badman, and then it fixes that.
Oh God, I've been dreading this day.
You're here all the time. Why not?
I know.
So this week, we're going to talk about secret levels.
secret levels.
Secret
Secret
tunnel.
Secret tunnel. Yeah.
And Ashley made the scripts for all of these. So I'm going to let her take over.
I did. So
Unless she wants me to do it, since you're sick.
no, I mean I can. It's fine.
Okay.
So Ethan and I sat down together to do these scripts, and upon watching it, there was a comment that was made that I thought was kind of interesting, and it's something that I feel like we should actually discuss, which is the reason why they're doing this, and like,
Which this is pure speculation.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is speculation on our part, but I mean, if it turns out to be an accurate thing, I'm kind of interested in how they're doing it, because what they did is they did 15 separate episodes of a variety of different game types and like different games from across the world. So there's like New World, there's a Dungeons and Dragon one, there's a Warhammer one, there's a Pac-Man one, right? There's a whole range of episodes.
Which is
If you haven't-
terrifying.
I don't like the fucking Pac-Man one, and we're gonna get into it
was
because
creepy.
it was weird.
We'll talk about that 2 episodes from now.
I mean, we talk about it a little bit here, but yeah, we'll talk about it later then too. Yeah, I fucking hated it.
No, I'm laughing about something completely different that we will get into later.
okay.
That you read?
Yep.
Yep. I also know which one it is.
Oh, I have no idea why he wanted me to type it, but that's a him thing.
That's a fair
Type
assessment.
what? Hold on. Which one are you talking about?
Fuck you
off,
off, you
you
spooky
spooky
cunt.
No.
That's not-
No. I typed that.
Oh, you did?
You
Oh,
were working on
did
it
you?
whenever I went in to check it, and you were typing, and you had this, and I just added it, and I was like, "I'll see if it makes it,"
I feel like I've
It
heard
made
you
it.
say that before.
because it's
Fuck off, you
I've seen it
spooky
off
cunt.
something.
But yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, I just wanted to have a quick discussion about the actual like
Why?
why secret level is a thing. What it could be potentially, because
This is
the
a
idea.
very uncommon way to present a show.
Well, I mean, if you notice, the IPs they picked are mostly old. Besides Sifu or Armored Core. Unreal Tournament hasn't had a game in years.
Yeah, that's true.
Warhammer just came
just
out.
dropped.
Yeah, it just dropped, but it's
New
not
World.
super popular to the
New World's
masses.
new, isn't it?
And
New World's brand new.
But New World was failing. New World had to do the re-release because New World was
is
failing.
failing.
And so
Yeah.
it's either games that
That's why I
aren't
hate
super
Tournament.
popular to the masses, are old, or are failing.
So you think they just scooped
Yet.
up a bunch of cheap IPs?
Essentially, I mean, other than D&D is everyone knows D&D. It's one to like, oh hey, we have D&D.
Unfortunately, Jamie, it's also probably a cheap IP.
I mean, yes, Wizards.
It is Hasbro.
It's also Wizards of the Coast, not well known for taking great care of their IPs, but like Warhammer isn't super known to the wider non-miniature community.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it is because they know, Warhammer, but Warhammer as a whole, like, I've had people ask me, like, what the episode was about, like, what the cultists were, and stuff like that.
Or they don't know
in the
details,
episode.
no.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
you're right.
To be
you're
fair,
right,
the
you're right.
episode provides almost no detail.
no, it is.
Yeah.
But
It goes for almost every episode.
But I mean,
To be fair,
Sifu's,
don't have a lot of time.
Sifu's a brand new game,
Yeah,
brand new.
Yeah.
It's like
Um,
2022 or something.
2022.
Yeah.
Um,
I looked up because like, what the fuck is this?
Unreal Tournament has had one game in like 15 years, and that one game already has like, it only has like a couple hundred players.
And Mega Man, it hasn't had a whole lot.
No, so it's mostly
over the past like 20 years.
It's popular older games for the most part.
it's mostly old IPs that aren't getting anything.
Okay, so to explain what we're all talking about, I'm just going to read the actual titles of the episodes themselves, and we could talk about the rating scores at this point as well. So episode 1 is Dungeons and Dragons: The Queen's Cradle. Episode 2 was Sifu: It Takes a Life. Episode 3 was New World: The Once and Future King. The 4th was Unreal Tournament Zan. 5 was Warhammer 40k, and They Shall Know No Fear. 6 was Pac-Man Circle. 7 is Crossfire, called Good Conflict. 8 is Armored Core Asset Management. 9 is The Outer Worlds: The Company We Keep. 10 is Mega Man Start. 11 is Exodus Odyssey. 12 is Spelunky Tally. 13 is Concord Tales of the Implacable. 14 is Honor of Kings: The Way of All Things. And 15 is Playtime Fulfillment.
The only game like out of like that last set that has recently come out and been successful would be Armored Core. Because Concord failed.
Outer Worlds was a flop.
Yeah.
The Outer Worlds, yeah.
The Outer Worlds was a flop. Spelunky, it's been over 10 years. And Playtime was just PlayStation.
Yeah.
Concord, that was the game that just released.
Yes, that was because they it came out, failed, did terrible, and then they revealed that there was going to be a secret level episode about it, and everybody goes, "What the fuck?"
That's great.
Yeah, it was bad.
We're like, this makes
But
no
okay,
sense.
the story of Concord, like in Concord, is neat, but the game itself was
And so we'll go down the ratings too. The total for the show, the Rotten Tomatoes, is the tomato score
You didn't
is
pronounce that correctly.
Tomatoes score is a 65%. And the popcorn meter is a 79%. The Dungeons and Dragon episode is a 7.2 out of 10. The Sifu episode is a 7.4 out of 10. The New World episode is a 7.4 out of 10. The Unreal Tournament episode is an 8.1 out of 10. The Warhammer 40k is an 8.8 out of 10. Which I think, I'm going to mention this before we even get to the actual episode of it. I think this is boosted because it's right off the game. Like, it's immediately right after the finishing of the story of the game.
yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Pac-Man Circle is a 6.8. Crossfire is a 6.3. Armored Core is a 7.6. And The Outer Worlds is a 6.5. Mega Man is a 6.0. Exodus is a 6.7. Spelunky is a 5.5. Concord is a 6.3. Honor of Kings is a 7.2. And Playtime is a 4.8. And the total for IMDb is a 7.5.
Sure.
All right, so I'm gonna roll, and I'm gonna ask the question of what do you think will make it through? Like, what are your top 3
I don't
episodes?
think we didn't talk about the idea.
Oh,
Yeah, your guys' idea of like what it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of
we had
myself.
Jamie's idea of what it was,
Be-
which is fair.
you like
because
to
of what
explain
you
it?
said, because they are cheaper IPs.
Yeah.
This is what we thought they were actually doing, and I'll let you take over on that.
Okay, so what we think they're actually doing is we think that they're using the top 3 to 5 episodes, the top 3 to 5 most popular episodes, and what they're going to do is they might expand and make entire different shows out of it to boost the numbers for the actual video games themselves.
Well, I mean, it's already confirmed, or Amazon's coming out with a Warhammer show with Henry Cavill. So that's something that could help go for this.
On Amazon.
On Amazon.
But that is the important part.
Yes.
On Amazon.
And
Yeah.
Yes.
So Tyler, you're going to be 1, Jarrett 2, Ethan 3, me 4, you 5, and if it's a 6, it's a reroll.
Okay.
Sure.
3. What's
Ethan.
what are the top 3 that you think are going to make it through? If our speculation is correct, what do you think would make it through?
Turn around.
What? Yeah, I know. I've seen it.
That fucking weeby TikTok shop.
I have an Attack on
Gojo
Titan one that's
shirt.
Aaron like still sitting in the Attack Titan.
Sorry. I got distracted by Gojo.
Fair, everybody does.
If I'm not looking at the ratings, but I'm looking at I'm looking at how I view the episode.
Sure.
I'm gonna have a different list.
How many have you watched?
I have watched up to Mega Man.
Okay.
I haven't watched all of them yet.
You watched the first 9.
Yeah. She's only watched the first 6.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. If it were me choosing, I would choose Dungeons and Dragons, probably Warhammer 40K and Mega Man. I think those are the ones that I thought had the most narrative sense for what they're doing. And I know that the Pac-Man one was specifically on here because I feel like they could make a show out of the Pac-Man one. I don't think the animation style was quite what I would have expected, but it's on there because the new game's coming out. Yeah.
Duo.
I would, very similar to Ethan, I would say Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer. Oh, God. I've only seen the first 6. So, I'm not really even sure.
I feel like New World could be interesting, though. So
We'll get into the New World one.
I would say, like, either Pac-Man or Unreal Tournament,
Gotcha.
from what I've seen.
Seeks.
Jamie, that's you.
Jim.
Okay. So we're doing the next
Your
week's show.
the
Your
top
three.
three
Oh,
that
top
you
three.
think they will take
and
into.
expand the IP.
Expand on.
I mean, it's already known they're taking Warhammer, and it's already a thing. And,
Yeah, we're talking about an
with them,
animated
it's,
series.
animated series. Sifu, I think, because of how the action could be set up. Yeah, the story.
It's pretty short.
I was
It's
gonna say,
short.
Is that not just literally the story?
Yeah,
Of the game.
Basically.
Yeah.
But okay, if not Sifu, then Unreal Tournament. There's a lot of potential there. D&D's it's D&D. There's a ton of potential in D&D.
We all know.
The only other one I could think would be, honestly, either New World or Crossfire. Crossfire being it's a classic war shooter, but New World, the the immortality of.
It has an interesting concept that
Yes.
because is anyone really dying?
Yeah,
which
it's
is
like
an
no
interesting
one-
concept.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Like a really cool setup.
Okay. That's me. So if I'm picking based off of me, Unreal Tournament, which was probably, I don't know if it was my favorite episode or second favorite. It's definitely close in the top 2. Like, I really like that episode. Warhammer 40K and The Outer Worlds. I actually liked that short. Those are I've only watched up until 9. Honorable mention for obviously Dungeons and Dragons because there's so much you can do with that. Mm-hmm. And I do think New World would be really fun. Realistically, we already know the Warhammer 40K is coming, so if they were to pick 3 of these, I would say it would be probably Dungeons and Dragons, New World, and maybe Unreal Tournament.
Okay. My personal were I really liked the Dungeons and Dragons one as well. I think of the 6 that I've seen so far, that's probably my favorite. Followed pretty closely by a tie for Warhammer and the New World one. The New World one had me cracking up.
It was very funny.
It was really funny.
And yet,
And it made it all that
Aelstrom lives.
it made it so much better that it was Arnold.
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll talk about that when we get
Yeah,
to that.
yeah.
I don't want to talk about it right now because
Yeah.
we got a whole thing going on.
That is true. We do have a whole thing.
Okay, so the ultimate question is if they do it, do you think they'll pick 3? Do you think they'll pick, because they're so low budget to have purchased and made stuff for? And I'm not saying that the actual process itself was as cheap as it is, because I know that it costs a lot, but like, do you think that they're going to pick a number? If that number, what number? How many do you think they would do?
So I think I think they're going to wait until Warhammer comes out and they have the Warhammer experience and see how it does. And then they'll base that off of how many they actually pick.
That's fair.
If they don't wait, they're probably only going to pick 2 or 3.
I don't think they're going to wait, because if they wait, Warhammer's probably not come out until at least 2026.
Yeah, they're going to lose out on the hype of what's
I'm
right
not even
now.
saying hype.
Even
you
yeah.
have animation will take another 1.5 to 2 years to animate any of this stuff. That's 4 years.
Well, even,
That's true too.
even
That's too
so,
far out.
Warhammer just fully got announced to be
Yeah.
off the ground.
It's
So,
rumored for like 2 years, but they
Yeah.
just now greenlit it and was like, "Yep, go ahead."
But an animated show, they could probably pump out much quicker.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, because look at what they've done with Invincible. Look how long they took with Invincible. With
Yeah,
like,
animation can take a while, especially if you don't have a good studio that's ironed out its process.
Amazon took how long between the first 4 episodes of season 2 of Invincible and the last 4?
I don't think that was necessarily anything to do with animation time. That was more of a
That was
trying
the
to get
personal
subscription.
choice.
Really poor like hype schedule that
Yeah.
didn't work out, but
they're trying
I
to
don't even think it was a hype schedule. I think it was because they knew ads were coming out on the second half.
yeah.
You would watch it and they would get more ad revenue.
But I think if they're gonna pick some to create, they're gonna have to do it soon-ish.
Well,
Yeah.
I think one of the things that they're viewing is they've seen the success of Arcane
Sure.
and
trying to
see
other things that are based off of
Fallout.
like Fallout and stuff that's kind of come through. That
Last of
The
Us.
Last of Us.
Yeah.
the
But
popularity of those have been pretty high.
I would
Yes.
say the Fallout and Arcane not having a direct tie to the actual video game and story-wise, like they're making
Yeah.
up a story as for the show.
and
and them
that's what
being-
they've mostly done for most of these.
Yeah.
Some of these they're tied in, but like Sifu, it's
Yes,
really
yeah.
heavily tied in.
Well, I mean,
But like Dungeons and
Warhammer's
Dragons, it's loosely based off of Tyranny of Dragons. Loosely, I mean,
Warhammer's a direct sequel.
yeah,
Yeah,
the game.
it literally
Yeah.
that
Like
what
it
you
picks up.
see whenever you see them accept a mission, that's the same one
Yeah,
that
that's
Titus
like
gets.
right at the very end of the first game. You see Titus get onto Thunderhawk, and then they're going to the mission.
Yep. Which we'll talk about that
Yeah.
next time. Sorry.
So I mean, what was the question?
How many they're gonna take?
What's
And
I only think they're going to take 1 or 2.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they'll take
It's-
many.
Animation is expensive and takes a long time.
And if they take 2, the second one is going to be Warhammer.
I mean,
more
it's
than likely.
They're
they're gonna take the 2 most popular
because
more
they're
likely.
they're going to try to what I think they're going to try to do is they're going to either try to hype up or they're going to try to expand on an IP that they're already working on.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Warhammer has one of the longest run times of these 15 episodes.
No, it's,
No,
They did that on purpose.
I mean so did Playtime.
sure.
Playtime's like 30 minutes.
But that was Sony, so that
Yeah.
makes sense why they
Mega Man got kind of fucked on this. A whole
Mega
8
Man
minutes.
was like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
But
And that's the reported amount. That's not even with like the
credits
the credits
and
and,
intro,
the intro.
yeah.
Yeah, it's probably about
6.
6 3/4 minutes. I mean, it's not much.
But I would definitely say it's going to end up being Warhammer and one of the other ones.
And it
But I
kind
would
of
pick Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm also biased.
I don't know why they wouldn't. It doesn't make sense to me why they wouldn't pick that because the movie was relatively successful.
Yeah, not really.
No, it
It received
money.
well. It didn't make.
Yeah.
a
That's
lot
what
of
I'm saying.
money.
It's received well.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, and apparently box office scores do not equate to
Not always.
success.
Yeah.
Like, there's home release, or I guess home release and streaming and stuff like that. That go back to it, but
Because they want people to come back and watch the show.
yeah.
Right.
I think
I think they're
I would say also it's no coincidence that it's the first episode. It is the hook to get
Yeah.
you to watch.
Oh yeah.
While we're actually having a discussion about the lengths, I'm gonna jump down on the page. And why do you think they were different times? Do you think it's the cost of animation? Do you think it's a lack of story? Do you think that they just didn't have enough time to do it? Like, what are your theories on the different lengths of shows?
I would say just a combination of the first two. Also, there's probably just some of that. Like they're like, hey,
like we don't need that long.
yeah.
Like Pac-Man being
That
11
Pac-Man-
minutes.
that
Do you really
Pac-Man
need
was
20
creepy.
minutes of Pac-Man?
I mean,
Not really.
To be fair, it
What
took
do
me
you-
it took me forever to figure out.
It was Pac-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my ultimate question, I guess, at the end of the day is if that's the case, then what is the longevity if they are going to make a TV show out of it? Like, how are they going to be writing that story? What do you think that they're going to be pulling out?
that's why like,
That's why it's good.
That's why probably D&D and Warhammer be the choices
the-
because
Yeah, that's what
they've
I
been
kinda
around
figured.
since the 70s and 80s.
Aside
They're the
from it-
most broad.
Yes.
There's also just a lot more material there to
Yes.
work with.
Yeah.
Well, again,
That's
like I
also
said,
why
since they've
we're
been
also
around for so long.
we're also putting up New World and Mega Man because they're established things that have been around since the
Yeah.
80s or 70s.
And Mega Man has a ton of story too.
Yeah,
Like, look
sure.
at like Mega Man X, Mega Man Legends. Like there's a ton of story there. It's just a matter of finding where you want to tell the story.
And it's very
how you-
narrative. I mean,
Yeah.
so anything that has a high narrative content is obviously a good choice here. Unreal Tournament's another one that we've mentioned several times too. It's got a lot of lore in it.
Yeah,
that
because
it's
it's
not really explored as well in the game.
I mean, it's a tournament based in just a complete like a death tournament.
Yep.
But it has a lot of
It
weird
has to
lore
have
to
a bunch
it.
of lore
Why?
to it.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of multiplayer games like that are last that long have a lot of lore behind them that aren't focused on. And but now that we have this medium, they can be focused on.
Sure.
So it'll be based off of how much narrative content they can get out of the IP that already exists. Yeah. And whether the company's willing to help
Yeah.
cost productions. So
One of the comments that we made was the content level of it, like because, for example, the creative licensing on the Pac-Man one, which, by the way, what the fuck, that one was creepy as hell. But what do you think about their use of creative license? And did you find it as gory and as adult as I did?
Oh, it's definitely gory.
I mean,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
definitely very gory. The
one of
Warhammer
the-
one specifically.
I mean,
Which Warhammer's gory.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, in one of the first trailers of it, you see the Space Marines murdering a bunch of cultists in one of the very first trailers. So
Yeah.
it was they kind of set the tone from
a good
day
scene.
one. That's such a good
so
scene.
great.
But I mean, it kind of set the tone from day one that this is going to be a lot.
Yeah.
This is going to be adult. This is what these worlds are set for.
well, like adult. I'm not talking like pornographic, but
No,
adult animations are
Well, like you can even say,
they've become a more prominent thing.
yeah.
Over the past like 5 years alone. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, just since 2021, we've gotten Invincible. We've gotten Harley Quinn, and we got Creature Commandos going on right now. A bunch of different.
they're hugely popular.
Yes, a bunch of different really
Because-
good animated shows going
Well,
on.
it's like people our age. We grew up on cartoons, and now we get to see cartoons that are they're treated for people that are our age now.
Yes.
I think
We're not watching kids' cartoons.
Yeah, it's like gargoyles.
Just because
or
we like
Blue's
the animated
Clues.
stuff.
I mean,
a
it's,
big reason. I think.
I mean,
this
I'm still
is-
watching kids' cartoons, but
I
that's
was
because I have
looking
a
at you because
child.
I was like, are you gonna sit here and honestly tell me that you don't watch Bluey
Oh, no,
for
I
just
watch
fucking
Bluey.
enjoyment?
I
of
watch
watching
First of
Bluey
all-
for
Bluey?
enjoyment.
let's not
not shit on Bluey.
That's
We're
there
not.
we go.
We're not shitting.
We
on
are
Hold up,
not a shit on Bluey podcast.
No, no.
This is
Oh,
a Bluey,
Bluey's-
this
I'm
is a
just
Bluey
doing
safe
it.
zone. Yes.
Mason wants to watch Miss Rachel, and I put him on Bluey because I ain't dealing with that woman's voice. in
Because
my house.
Bluey doesn't suck.
Bluey doesn't annoy the piss out of me with that fucking voice.
You know what? I'm
get
so
used
glad
to
that
it.
you
You
told
do.
me. I'm so glad that you told me that because I would much rather turn on Bluey than Miss Rachel.
He's also
in our
getting more
house.
interested in Bluey than he was. But my thing is also the reason I think this is like getting as popular as it is, and adult animation getting as popular as it is because and more adult and more story driven anime are hitting the mainstream, and more people are like JJK. I always find a way to mention JJK
Yeah.
in one way or another.
I get it.
But like stuff like that's hitting the mainstream and making stuff like this allowed to be there more popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said more like just coincides with it. Just more like we ran out of cartoons, so we turned to anime
Yeah.
because it's a little bit more adult.
Well, and it
thing.
kind of coincided with our age, too.
That's what I'm saying. Like our age, we went from Saturday cartoons to anime
To,
to now adult animation
Yeah. And anime.
and anime.
But anime as a whole is becoming more adult.
Yes.
And more based
Yeah.
for adults.
And they can honestly do a lot more with violent stuff in animation than they can in
Oh,
live action
absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and it's easier to.
yeah, it's
It may still look bad, but you
I mean-
disregard when it looks bad versus.
there's also
Oh, boy.
there's
I got some.
logistical problems with
Watch something
making
that's
live
real bad.
action stuff that you don't face when making animated stuff that someone would be like you'd have a group of people doing in an office instead of having a group of people doing on like that all have to be like super specially trained for various tasks on a set. where you don't have to worry about that with animation.
Yeah, you just draw it.
You draw it or you
Animate it however you do.
however you're doing it. And it's totally different ballpark. Makes it. I think the logistical problems are a lot less on animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By far.
Easier to complete the task.
Oh yeah. You could do like I said, you could do a lot more with it.
Yeah.
All right, I have 2 final questions. We'll go with what was your least favorite? Which one did you like the least from the ones that you've seen so far?
Oh,
Playtime.
Playtime?
I love PlayStation IPs, but it was the most boring. Because, okay, cool. We got to see a Helldiver. We got to see Kratos or Jin Sakai. Why? Why did we get to see them? We didn't get to see them do anything that they do as characters that they are. They just were there for nostalgia and, cool effect.
Sure.
Duo.
Me.
Yep.
New World, I just really did not vibe with that. The Arnie stuff was funny like once. After 5 minutes of it, I was like, all right, let's fucking move on.
That was
Hellstrom lives.
Catchy. But I was like, all right, this is.
He and I have quoted it for like the last week since we watched it.
It's quotable. I was like,
That's me. So of mine, I'm between Crossfire and Sifu. I don't know. Sifu was probably my least favorite of what I've watched so far. It just didn't click with me.
fair.
I mean, it's fun. It's a fun watch, but it just me.
1, that's you.
Me? Mm-hmm. I have to agree. It's either Crossfire or Sifu. It's not that I didn't like Sifu. It's just that
If you're not a martial arts guy, it's probably not going to be your bag.
It just felt like I
it's
was watching.
not even about martial arts. It's
I mean,
it's not it at all.
It's killing.
It's exactly what it is. It's a martial arts flick.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not about martial arts. It's about the fact that he dies and comes back and dies and comes back. I mean,
the hallway scene in the game and in the movie, or in the show.
Back up some.
Yeah, you're not.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
You're in front of the
I'm
microphone.
gonna wait actually to talk about this because it's something I have.
Well, we get to talk about it in a whole nother episode.
yeah.
So,
but I mean, if it, like the closest one that has a very similar theme to it is New World, and I just think thematically New World was better than Sifu. So I would say Sifu probably. And it's not that any of them are. None of them I've seen so far because I haven't gone past Mega Man. None of them I've seen so far were bad.
yeah.
I think they did a pretty good job with all of them so far that I've seen.
My personal least favorite is probably Sifu or Pac-Man. Sifu just for the fact that it wasn't that memorable for me. Like I watched it, I took notes on it, but
I agree with that.
meh, it was okay. But Pac-Man made my list only because I watched it and I went, "What the fuck am I watching? What am I actually looking at?"
See, I understand that, but that made me like it.
Yeah, same.
That's fair.
That's what made it above the.
That might
Possibly
be
the
also a
most
man.
graphic one on here.
Yeah.
It's pretty graphic.
Yeah.
It also might be
That
a
was
man versus woman thing because I sat there and watched it and I was like, "Why the fuck would I sit here and watch it? Why?"
Maybe.
But he sat and watched it and enjoyed it, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Also,
Well, I'm not gonna go home and watch it 6 more times or anything.
Yeah.
Just a one-time thing was good enough
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
but
no,
I liked it.
I wouldn't watch it if it actually came out as like an actual show.
I love
would not.
gratuitous violence, so it's perfect for me.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute still, by the way,
Oh,
to being
cannibalized.
stewed. Yeah.
Oh, stewed.
You said you had 2 more questions.
Yep.
That was one. What's the next?
The last question is from the ones that we think that will actually make it through. If this is the how they're actually doing it, like the Warhammer one, how far do you think it'll go? Do you think it would go very far? Couple seasons? Do you think it would die pretty quickly?
the Warhammer one, it will go as far as the actual live action show goes. I would almost guarantee.
And Dungeons and Dragons would depend solely on how shitty Hasbro wants to get.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly,
It's such a toss-up for all of these.
Because if the first season of Dungeons and Dragons is successful, if they do end up making a show about it, which is all again just pure speculation, and if they do end up making a show about Dungeons and Dragons and it is successful in the first season, Hasbro's going to get real shitty real quick.
Yeah.
And it's going to end real quick, just like Baldur's Gate 3 did.
To
There's
no
no
one's
more
surprise.
games from Larian that are based in
D&D.
Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if we're talking about like see how long Secret Level itself will go, I think it'll go for quite a while. Because I mean, look how long Love, Death, and Robots is going, and they don't have any material to work with there.
Yeah.
Here they have a lot of material to work with, so I think it'll probably go on for quite a while.
Okay, I'm not saying it won't, but it's just like it depends. Are they going to keep expanding on these IPs they have here? Or are they going to have to keep buying new IPs?
Well,
and
as
making,
we're talking about this, the next season is actually starting for Secret Level already, right?
I think so.
What is the first season? What is the first episode that's out? What
I mean,
is
solo
it
leveling?
about?
We're talking about solo leveling.
Solo leveling?
Yeah, we're not,
Oh.
not super.
Yeah,
We were talking about solo leveling earlier.
I'm not drunk. You're, drunk.
sure.
In Soviet Russia.
It is.
But what is it about?
It doesn't say.
It doesn't
it
say.
doesn't
It
have
wasn't.
one.
It was.
It was
like,
announced.
It was announced.
Hey, we're making
Sorry.
It
more.
was greenlit, but
Yeah.
Oh.
there you do.
They
have
haven't announced anything about it yet? Okay.
Not on
a
IMDb.
question on here. I do have something I want to say. For
I
you.
just ran with it
Is,
as you said it.
It asks like, do I think any other studios will follow? Or do we think any other studios will
Yeah.
follow suit? I think they're the studio following suit because
Yeah.
I mean, look what CD Projekt Red did with Studio Trigger and Cyberpunk. That was like the big like game tie-in like adult animation that was massive the past couple of years, and look how popular that did. So that gave other studios like, hey, we can do this, and now they're taking the leap and doing this with multiple different games and showing that it's possible.
I would say it's more Netflix because they have
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, they have Castlevania, they have
Yeah,
Arcane.
well, I think Netflix started this trend
Yes.
with Castlevania, and then moving into Cyberpunk and
Arcane
and everything, and doing this is what really helped them.
I guess the better question then is, how long do you think that this will last for? How long do you think that studios are going to be willing to put in the time and effort to make multiple episodes to test their audience?
Until the money stops coming
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
I
that's
mean,
normal.
look, like the fact that Cyberpunk was willing, or that CD Projekt Red was willing to do it, was Cyberpunk when Cyberpunk did it. Cyberpunk was not exactly saving itself yet. It hadn't saved itself from its hole yet, and then it did. And look how popular the anime was, and look how popular the game became. So they're going to see money in their games with how this is, because I mean, except for League didn't bring in the players they wanted because people realized the game was garbage. So
The game isn't garbage. The game is a lot of fun.
the
players.
people are
the community
garbage.
is garbage.
Because yeah. So Arcane was technically a failure, but
It got a lot of
according
Arcane's not a failure.
to Riot considers it a failure. 'cause they
Riot,
didn't bring
they-
in-
because it didn't bring in what
Yeah.
they wanted.
Yeah.
No. But instead it just cost them a lot of money.
That's a very outdated like model. That's like
yeah.
Hasbro being like, well, the fucking Transformers movie didn't make us sell any more toys, and it's like, people don't fucking buy toys anymore, you idiots.
okay, you know,
No, it's all virtual content. Yeah.
They don't.
I do.
You don't. You're not their target demographic, Jamie.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so the handful of people out there that do collectors for any specific IP, there's lots of people out there that
Yeah.
do collecting, but for every IP, it's not that many people unless we're talking like Ninja Turtles. But
Yeah,
the handful of people that are buying them are not the target audience because the mass sales are going to
Yes.
go to
kids.
We're going to kids. Kids are no longer interested in playing
Physicals.
with toys after they turn like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Play on their tablets.
Legos are one thing. Legos are one thing because they're involving and they get people like you doing something with your hands. But like the era of having like getting your kid a new action figure,
They're
and they're going to actually play with it and be involved in it until they're 10 or 12 years old is no longer there.
they're also like worse quality. Because I remember when
Also true.
I remember when like Hastings used to have like the Halo action figures. I used to get like those like all the time, like Chief and like everyone from like Halo Reach and whatnot. And now they sell the Halo action figures again, but they're like gross. They don't move as much.
They're
Yeah.
cheap plastic.
Yeah.
Cheaper molds,
Same
less articulation,
price.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like
Higher profit margin.
like in the 90s when I was a kid, when Beast Wars was coming out, right? The Beast Wars action figures were phenomenal. Like,
Back on the fucking Beast Wars train.
Beast Wars is good.
It's the best Transformers
talk
property
about
ever.
Beast Wars like
I
every
mean,
6 months.
I don't know where my old Beast Wars action figures were. I don't know where they're at now, but they were phenomenal when they came out.
I thought of buying like the Optimus Primal like
Oh, they're
fantastic.
fantastic.
The new one they
I used to
released,
have
like,
a
2 or 3
Ninja
years
Turtle
ago.
set.
I'm
Ninja Turtles was
artistically
the same
obsessed
way.
with Transformers.
Yeah.
So
Have you picked up? I mean, you buy toys, some like for collector, right? So, have you actually opened any of the Transformers thing? Are they garbage?
new ones are, yeah. I have.
That's what I'm saying.
I have a friend
Yeah.
who has a Gen 1 like OG.
Why would they pump as
Optimus
much money
Prime.
into it if they're not going to make as much
Yeah.
money on them?
Yeah.
It's kind of like
It's just not. They're not. It's not there. It's a
give
market
and take.
recurring cycle. It's like they're not going to put as much money because they make less money off in sales. So it's just like
Yeah.
it'll keep going till they eventually cancel the toys lines altogether.
Most of the toys that are successful these days are creative toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because
Like McFarlane Toys makes a lot of money.
yeah, McFarlane toys, those puzzle toys, they're still big. Legos, anything with builders, like you can build stuff out of, that's gonna be good. But on the like action figures and stuff, I think dolls and stuff are probably still gonna get used, but
Yeah.
still not as much as they used to.
Ashley, is that all we had? Okay. Well, that will wrap up the Secret Tunnel / Secret Level episode.
Tunnel.
I just want to clarify for everybody listening to that and getting confused. It's just because it's Secret Level and it has the exact same sound. You can literally go Secret Level.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
sure.
less fun.
They're called syllables.
It's
yeah,
less
well,
funny if you have to explain the joke, Tyler.
Yeah, but I'm
Through
sure
the
somebody
mountain.
out there is going, why the fuck are they saying
If you
Secret
don't know
Tunnel?
where Secret Tunnel is from,
Get a life.
why are you listening to this?
Fair enough. That's
It's from Avatar: The Last Airbender, both the live action and the cartoon.
Yep.
You should watch those, and if you don't know what it is, you are bad, and you should feel bad.
Exactly. We appreciate you guys listening, though. So we'll catch you on the next one, hopefully.
Meh.
Ooh.
I guess.